Welcome back to the junk room. Guess what we're talking about today? You guessed it. Kenner laser guns. Okay, some of you guys are going to say, that's not a laser gun, it's a laser pistol. Well, you're right about that. Now, Kenner made a couple of different ones. Not just this one, which is, I consider the Han Solo pistol, but we'll get into that in a minute. But throughout the years from 1978 to 1985, they released role-playing weapons. Whew, they were a lot of fun. Now I think almost every kid in the Star Wars in the 80s had this one right here. There were some other ones, but I don't think any was as popular as the Han Solo pistol, or later Luke Skywalker pistol. Sure was a lot of fun. Now, when you pulled the trigger, it wouldn't really do anything. You had to hold down a button right here on the back of the handle for the buzzing sound. You have to hold it down, then pull the trigger for the buzzing. It always reminded me as a kid of being at the dentist getting my teeth drilled. And this is mine as a kid, but I'm missing the two round circles that hold the battery cover on. So if anyone out there has a couple of them, that's real, not reproductions, let me know. Anyway, before we get into talking about the official Kenner guns, let's look at some of the bootlegs that hit the market before Kenner could get these to the market. First up, we have the Galaxy Ray Gun. Nothing really special here, doesn't look like anything from Star Wars, but it does have a picture of what looks to be Luke Skywalker on the package. And then you have this foreign release one here. I don't know what that says, Galactica maybe? Hey, I thought that was a video game. But here's this laser gun. It has a picture of Han Solo and Luke Skywalker on the package. There's no doubt about who that is, or those ships. They're the X-Wing. Now this one here says Star Wars Gun 1001. Even has Jedi written on the gun. But I don't think this is an official Lucasfilm gun. And for the Empire Strikes Back, you even had a bootleg gun there too. This one right here. That's one wacky looking gun. Now, before you say in the comments, Junkman, hadn't you already done a video on these? Well, I did around 2018. I'm a lot better now, and I figured I could just redo this video because there's a lot more I didn't cover in that video, and I wasn't really as good as making videos as I am now. Who knows, in 5 years, I might be remaking it again saying, I sure am better than I was back then. But let's get on with this video and talk about the most popular gun in the Kenner role-playing gun series. Han Solo's laser pistol. It also could be Luke Skywalker's. In fact, the marketing changed it to Luke Skywalker's during Empire Strikes Back. Now, before we look at the official gun, this one right here, let's look at the concept gun of what it almost looked like. As you can see from these early concepts, it looks a little different. Not a whole lot of difference, but you can tell by just looking at it, it sure does have a whole different look. And this concept look even got into some of the early catalogs promoting the gun to be released in 1978. Now that concept looked good, but one thing, I think Kenner got it right with this. They got this thing looking really close to Han Solo's gun. I mean, you could paint the grip right here brown or something, but overall, they did really well with this. Except the Star Wars logo sticker. I never liked that even as a kid, that it said Star Wars on it, even on this side. Because I don't think Han Solo had a gun that had Star Wars written on it. Now, maybe it did. I couldn't see his gun up close in the film. And maybe if you look really close, it does say Star Wars. I doubt it. But let's take a closer and better look at the toy. The gun was first released, of course, under the Star Wars logo in 1978. It was a popular seller. It would cross over to all three films' releases. Now, when it crossed over to the Empire Strikes Back logo in 1980, Han Solo did appear, very early on. These are pretty rare to find. It seems within the first year, they changed the box to Luke Skywalker. As a Han Solo fan, I was very offended by this. If you wanted to buy something related to Luke Skywalker, you bought a lightsaber. Now I know Luke had a laser gun, or laser pistol, but for us Han Solo fans, putting Luke Skywalker on the box, it left us without much Han Solo stuff to buy. Luke would appear on the Empire box and the Jedi box. Also, it seems when Luke took over the Empire box, the trigger and the trigger button was painted orange. And the battery compartment knobs, they went from black to gray. So if you have one and you're missing the logo sticker, you're not sure if you have a Star Wars gun or one released in Empire and Jedi time period, look for the different color button and trigger. Easy way to tell. Now, what do these run for on eBay? Well, Actually, they're not really that high when you think it's something vintage and very cool. Loose, you can pick these up for about $60 to $90, depending on condition, of course, and if it works. If you want one just to show, you don't care if it works or not, you can usually get it $60, maybe even $50, or cheaper if you look around. But a warning, there are a lot of broke ones on the secondary market. And by broke ones, I don't necessarily mean it doesn't work. I find the front end cracked, and sometimes the whole scope is broke in half. So if you want one, just make sure you get one that's not broke. It's still in good condition, even if it doesn't work. Now what about in the box? That's going to run you a little bit more, but still not crazy for a vintage Star Wars item. $200 to $400. That's ungraded in the Star Wars logo box. Now these prices are all in the original box. I'm not going to go over each price for each one, but the fine Han Solo in the Empire Strikes Back box, that's very rare to find. It's going to cost you a lot more. You can now get this on a shirt at junkmanmerch.com. You can also get Jeffrey the Giraffe shirt and other cool shirts. But I thought you guys might like to see this gun on a shirt, so head over to junkmanmerch.com where it's on sale for the next 24 hours. Depending on when you've seen this video, it might not even be on sale anymore. Now that we got the Han Solo out of the way, let's look at the one for the Luke Skywalker fans. This is known as the 3-pistol laser rifle. And I know as a kid this was advertised as being more for Luke Skywalker, but to me it was a stormtrooper rifle. I always wanted this as a kid and I never did have it. And I don't even remember ever seeing this at the store. I just knew I had a friend named Justin that had one because he brought it to school on show and tell day. Today you get locked up in jail for doing that. Now this one did cross over to the Empire Strikes Back box, but it's very, very, very rare. It was even hard even finding a photo one with the Empire Strikes Back logo on it. Why was this such a limited release when it came to Empire? Well, we'll get into that when we look at the next gun. But what I like about this 3-pistol laser rifle, it was like having 3 laser rifles in one. Now picking up the 3-position laser rifle, loose, going to run you about $800 to $1,000. Again, depending on if it works. Doesn't work, lower end of that for sure. What about in the box? The Star Wars box anyway. That's going to cost you about $1,200 to $1,500. I can imagine what the Empire box goes for if that's what the original Star Wars box one goes for. Now I talked about how this was limited in the Empire box, and why is that? Well, it's because the gun was kind of, well, Kenner might say updated. I say downgraded for the Empire Strikes Back line, and it got a whole new name. The 3-position laser rifle, and it became the electronic laser rifle, but the 3-position part was taken out. So you just basically got the one piece. And it was advertised being more as an Imperial type weapon than one for Luke Skywalker. This was commonly known around the playgrounds in 1980 as the Stormtrooper laser gun. It also got released in the Jedi logo, but very limited. Again, another one that's very rare. It seems like once they sold out whatever stock they had left, they canceled this gun altogether. Although there was plans to re-release it in 1985 with a Power of the Force logo, but that never hit stores. However, the gun did reappear in stores in 1990, but as the Batman Sonic Neutralizer. Sonic Neutralizer. I'm surprised I could say that one right. Sonic Neutralizer. So how much does this Stormtrooper laser rifle go for? Well, loose you can pick it up for about $600 to $900. In box, $900 to about $1,200. Man, that's way out of my price range right there. Would be nice to have. Now let's look at the ones released for Return of the Jedi. The only new one we got for Return of the Jedi was the Biker Scout gun. I really like this one. Now by the time this one got released, I didn't really care for toy guns, but I wish I had. It even has a working scope. There's not really much more I can say about this gun here. It's just a Biker Scout laser gun. There it is right there. So how much can you pick up the Biker Scout laser gun for on the secondary market? Loose? About $50 to $70. Not bad at all. However, in the box, it's going to run you closer to $400 to $600. But to me, these things here, they're a lot more fun loose. Well, let's look at another one, kind of. Now, this one doesn't make sound. It's not really a role-playing toy gun, but I guess it could be because it's 2 things in one. Not only is it a little gun you can play with, it's also a carrying case for your action figures. Now, according to the 1984 Kenner Toy Fair catalog, this rifle was used by the Rebels and the Empire. Also, according to that catalog, it has a telescoping sight, although it's really just a plastic hole you can look through. But the oddest thing, it says that there's secret messages inside. I don't know about any secret messages inside this thing, unless they're talking about the action figures you could put inside of it. But I didn't have this as a kid, so maybe you know what the secret messages were. If you do, let me know. The rifle was planned to be carried over to the Power of the Force line, but it seems this toy item sold poorly and it was canceled really quickly. And some of the 1985 Power of the Force catalogs, you can see where a Power of the Force sticker was put on the toy, but again, these never hit market. This carrying case was almost re-released in the late 80s in Kenner's RoboCop line. Although it wouldn't be a carrying case, it would be more of a role-playing toy, and it would have been painted a lot different. But this was never released to the market. Something about this carrying case, even collectors today, they don't really like this thing. It's one of the cheapest vintage toys you can buy. You can pick it up loose or in box. Now when I say in box, it really just sits in a cardboard tray. So it's hard to say it's in a box, but loose or in the box, you can get it for about $70 to $200. Yeah, you can find it as low as $70 still sitting in the cardboard box. If you look around long enough, you probably can find it cheaper than that. Kids didn't like it in the 80s. Collectors don't like it today. I don't know why. It looks like a pretty fun item. And if you're collecting carrying cases, it's a must-have. And if you're collecting toy guns from Star Wars, that's another reason to get it right there. But there's no love for this carrying case gun. Now in the 90s, Kenner, now under Hasbro, used a lot of these same molds and released a lot of these same guns, but they were very bright orange. I mean, not just the tip. The whole thing was either orange and gray, looked horrible. I'm not even going to waste my time talking about those in the 90s. They didn't have to get that carried away with the bright colors. I know, they didn't want to get sued. But that's a look at the electronic role-playing toy laser pistols. I know, you're going to say, Junkman, it's not a laser gun, it's not a laser pistol. You're going to tell me some technical word that you read in a Star Wars source book. But to me, and millions of kids in the 80s, it was a laser gun. Or at least a laser pistol. So that's what I'm calling it today. You know what you can do with that source book. Well, I want to thank you for watching, and let me know, did you have any of these as a kid? Which ones did you have, or did you want them and never get them? Maybe you had them all. Maybe you were that kid. Yep, some of you were that kid. Well, I thank you for watching. As always, thumb up if you like my content, subscribe to the channel, and we'll talk again soon.
Hey, Junkman channel popping though.
Thank you, sir, for that unsolicited testimony.